Microphone's green, please.
Yep. Yeah, we will. Okay, I gotta go. All right, bye.
All right, sounds good.
That wasn't a good phone call. We're going red, so many positives at the hospital.
We're on, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining us this April 27th for the special meeting for the Village of Ruidoso Council. We're so thankful that the Lord blessed us with this beautiful rain to help us put out this nasty little fire. And we'll have an update shortly on the fire from our emergency personnel. So we're looking forward to that. I'm really excited about the response from not only the village, we expect it from the village always because our people are so well trained to do their job in communicating with the public, but also from the county. The response that they had set up, I think they've done a real good job. And with evacuations, moving animals and things like that. And today in this very building, we'll have the Forestry Service, the Feds setting up their command center. And they will be taking over the fire, I guess today sometime around 6 p.m. So let's hope there's not much of a fire for them to take over. If you'll join me for a moment of silence, and then we'll do the pledges. And then we'll take roll call. All right, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I
Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. All right, thank you, everybody. Jeffrey, remind me to bring in the new banner. It's been in my truck, and Miss Gladden will call me if I don't get it put up because I've had it for 2 weeks. Ron, roll call, please, sir.
Good morning.
Pardon?
Did you end up with 3 of them?
I don't know. I haven't opened the box. They may have been. If y'all been looking for them, I apologize. I stuck them in my back of my truck. Forgot about it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mayor Crawford,
Here.
Councilor Salas,
Here.
Councilor Letterman,
Here.
Councilor Eby,
Here.
Councilor Cornelius.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And I understand Mr. Jackson, Dr. Jackson will maybe join us later today. And I understand Councilor Coughlin has a boo-boo. So he may not be in today. So we have the item on the agenda for today is discussion and possible action on adoption of Resolution 2021-20, a resolution amending the fiscal year 2021 budget, quarter ending March 31st, 2021, for certain funds and application to the Local Government Division, LGD, of the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration, DFA, for approval thereof. And I believe this goes to Judy M. Starkovich. And it's good to see you, Judy. Take her away.
Good morning, Mayor, councilors.
Good morning.
In front of you is our third quarter budget adjustment. This is our routine quarterly adjustment that has to be submitted to DFA. It includes all our increases and decreases to the budget. We'll go through the same process as we usually do each quarter. We'll focus on the schedule that's titled Department of Finance and Administration, Local Government Division, Financial Management Bureau, Schedule of Budget Adjustments. This is the spreadsheet that shows exactly by category, whether it be a revenue, transfer in, expenditure of the amount of the adjustment, and then the corresponding items that make up that adjustment. So bear with me just a little bit. When I get to talking, sometimes I fall out at the end, but I'll recover. So we'll get going. On the general fund, there was changes not only to revenues, but transfers in and expenditures. Revenues increased by $104,000. And mainly it was due because of a New Mexico finance planning grant. I had rolled over the PO, but I forgot to roll over the grant revenue of $50,000. And I believe the planning grant has been completed and request for reimbursement of the funding has been made. So we are just waiting for the payback of this grant. The fire department did receive an RMP reimbursement for the Grants Pass Fire. As you know, we send some of our firefighters out to help fight fires in other areas, other states. This one brought in a reimbursement of $51,174. And it's broken up between the time for our personnel to be out there, some travel costs, and then rental of our equipment. So down further in expenditures, you'll see the breakout of those amounts by each category. In addition, our MVD fees increased a little bit this quarter by $3,739. So those adjustments totaled the 104 that increased our revenues. If we move into transfers in, you'll see that there was a payback of seed funds from our intergovernmental grant, which is Fund 218. When we started that grant a couple years ago, DEFA had asked us to separate some of our intergovernmental grants for our trail projects and for some of our legislative appropriations for our senior centers. So we created this fund, and in order to get the grants going, because as you know, many of our grants are on a reimbursement basis where we have to expend the money first and then we get reimbursed. So the general fund loaned this fund some money in order to get those expenses started. So once we got the reimbursements back, the Fund 218 actually paid back the general fund in the amount of $28,514. As we move on into expenditures actually went down $235,998. So there was some increases and some decreases. As far as the RMP reimbursement, 19,630 was a combination of salaries and travel for the fire department in fighting those fires. The Midtown bathrooms came a little bit over budget, so we reduced some of our regular utility cost and some of our CARES Act funding to come up with the difference. So you'll see that we had reduced the swimming pool utilities by $11,700, and the CARES Act funding pitched in $137,012. Now those bathrooms are getting constructed out of the SURF, so you'll eventually see a transfer out to the SURF of those two amounts. We actually put additional funding towards Wingfield House in the amount of $214,710. That was actually from residual CARES money, and that is actually being constructed in Fund 320. So you'll also see a transfer out for that. And then I had done some incorrect math to the CARES grant, so I had to adjust it to the right amount by $4,000. And then during the quarter, we actually rolled over our snow removal residual funding of $111,794. This money was a combination of some past snowstorms, the Goliath, and I can't remember the other name, but these were the funds that we had set aside and earmarked to help combat new snowstorms going forward. So this money, anything that's left over in 2021 will be rolled over to use in 2022. So now going into transfers out for the general fund, those actually increased $433,000. You'll see the RMP reimbursement for the equipment cost, and that's going towards the SURF fund in order to help the fire department pay for additional equipment that they might need. And then you'll see the additional funding for the Midtown bathrooms going to the SURF in the amount of $148,712. And the additional funding for Wing House is going to fund 320 in the amount of 214,710. And we actually needed a little bit of additional funding for Cream Meadows in the amount of $3,700. And that we had to come up with the match for construction on the Moon Mountain Trail grant, which is being operated out of 218 in the amount of $34,944. So all of those changes affected the general fund. So if you have any questions on those, I'll take them now and try to answer them. If not, we'll move on to the next couple of funds.
So Judy, the transfer out of the pool utilities, that's basically because we didn't operate last summer and had all those revenues for what was normally spent on natural gas and water and stuff, correct?
You are correct, Counselor.
Okay, so just wanted to make sure that we're not looking at 11,000 deduction in fiscal year 22's budget in their utilities. I just wanted to point.
No, you are correct. This is all 21. In 22, in July, they will start out with a whole new set of budgeted figures that are as if we were running at full capacity starting July 1st all the way to the end of next June.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Going forward, you'll see a lot of repeating, especially if there is transfers out of the general fund. When we talk about these other funds, you'll see the transfers actually coming in. And the first one, of course, is the SURF. We talked about the RMP reimbursement for the fire equipment at $31,000, and then the Midtown bathrooms at $148,000. So you'll see the transfer coming in, and then of course the corresponding increase to expenditures to actually complete the project. In our next fund is our special library fund. They did receive a Lincoln County grant in the amount of $10,000 for computers, so we were just booking that grant along with the expenditure of the funds. In the Lodgers Tax Fund, the committee increased revenues on 2.9 in order to accomplish an Alto Lake fish restock and the Wingfield master plan. The fish stock came in at 11,906, and the master plan is budgeted at $48,800. So the total increase to the Lodgers Tax Fund was $60,706. Our next fund, which is our municipal gas tax, which is where the streets is operated, they actually were approved for a 2021 MAP program in the amount of $100,000, and we actually already got the money advanced to us. So that was just recording the grant and the corresponding expenditure. They do have a match on those type of grants, but they usually use in-kind services like equipment time and some personnel time. So we don't technically have a cash match. It's all through in-kind services. Our next fund, which is the Special Recreation Fund, throughout this past couple of months, they've been selling some boating permits and some parking permits. So we were just adjusting the revenues budget to actual. So we increased revenues by $800. And then we were balancing out the cash after the splits. There was some little residual cash. And so the WIBIT operations increased $11,686 and the watershed increased $1,386. As far as the intergovernmental grants, I just had to take all the grants that are in that fund, and some of the grants that are in that fund are all our trail grants, the Moon Mountain Grant, the Lynx Trail Grant, the Cream Meadows Grant. We also operated some legislative appropriations for the senior center through that grant. So with all those grants, I just had to make the budget equal what we're actually going to receive. And then again, you'll see the increase in transfers in for the match on Cream Meadows and Moon Mountain. And on some of our expenditures in that fund increased by $100,000. When we were going through a review with DFA, they noticed that we have the magistrate court building project. And so I had to move the legislative appropriation out of intergovernmental grants and actually to the capital improvement project where we're actually going to build the magistrate court. So you'll see a new fund in this quarter. It's number 306. And that's just a capital improvement fund to keep the money separated that we're getting from NMFA to build the court. So you'll actually see a little bit down in the presentation, the creation of that fund. The Cree Meadows Trail increased by $25,677. And Moon Mountain, this is the recording of the construction of that trail at $240,000. And then the Senior Center, the legislative appropriation, we didn't expend all the funds. We had left on the books 192, and that was just cleaning it up and getting it out of our fund so that we have a clean presentation for the audit. You'll also see in transfers out the payback to the general fund of the seed money in the amount of $28,000. As far as the RSVP grant fund is concerned, we did receive a federal grant for some safety equipment in the amount of $5,955.
Hold on one second, Judy. I got Cody on. Do you want to interrupt the meeting for a bit?
Yeah, would you take just to give us a break just a minute, Judy? We want to hear what's going on with the fire. Go ahead, Cody.
Go ahead, Cody.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Mayor, Council, managers, everyone in attendance. I want to give a quick briefing on the Three Rivers Fire. We spoke with Mike Smith through J.W. McCoy, which is the FMO for the Lincoln National Forest here in Ruidoso, and Mike Smith is the IC that's running the fire at this time since it started. The fire update, it did spread a little bit and grow overnight. We're at about 6,100 acres. There's a small piece of fire that did spread under the reservation that they're going to be concerned with as a priority today. They're trying to keep this fire with the wind pushed to the north, as that will protect the ski area and it lining up with the reservation in Ruidoso. They do have 4 seats and 1 heavy tanker this morning that's going to start an air show around 0800 to 0900, and they're going to concentrate on that west flank to tie it in to make sure that we don't have any more incident. The moisture did not reach the Three Rivers side per the IC, but we did get moisture on the east side near the ski area. So they're going to try to use that as a little bit of holding. They're not too concerned until this afternoon. We're supposed to have some gusty winds in the 60s. So they're going to keep an eye on that. Also, they are, as everyone knows, going to be meeting at the convention center at 1800 hours tonight. As the Type 1 team transitions, Dave Bell will be the new incident commander. It'll be a cooperators meeting. They're trying to keep it, they're going to close it to the public, but they will be updating twice a day. They do have an official Facebook page. It's called Three Rivers Fire 2021. And so that's an official Facebook page that they will keep updated throughout the day, twice a day. And then if there's any emergency notifications, they will put those on there immediately. RFD has 4 personnel and a Type 6 that are working from 0700 to 7 o'clock tonight. Per IC and Lincoln County Sheriff, they are holding their evacuations with possible re-entry with a coordinated effort this afternoon after they see what the weather and the fire is going to do on the north side near Nogales and Loma Grande. Let's see. I believe that's it at this time. If y'all have any questions, I can try to answer those.
Questions, anyone?
That's good information.
I think that you got it all covered there, Chief. Thank you for taking time out to bring the information in.
Cody,
Yes, sir.
I think we need to, express interest that we need our water department at the table so that, because of the watershed.
Okay.
Were you able to address that with them today?
So The crew that's on now, no, but they said we could probably do that with the new Type 1 team, as that's what they're gonna on restoration and managing the fire. That's what they're gonna focus on. Right now, they're just working on the hotspots in the fire, so they don't have anyone available with the Forest Service that can answer those questions.
You said that they were focused on the west flank, and, with that, I'm concerned about, the south flank as well, because it is threatening a valuable resource to the village of Ruidoso. So,
Okay.
I think they need to be focused on that south side as well. And that's how come I think we need somebody at the table, because, if they're not, I think they need to recognize that as one of the most precious resources that we have. So I'm
Okay,
concerned.
so I can tell you that south side where it started, if I didn't say it, they are anchoring in that on that west side, because it is a priority for them not to get into those resources up near the ski area and over on that reservation, as J.W. McCoy did tell me this morning. So I will call him back and let him know that if we can get a contact and make sure that tonight or at the briefing, we can get some information and talk about that, and then I will get a name and contact for that.
Maybe I'm turned around, but it sounds to me like the watershed would be down on the southeast side of that area, not the west side. And the reservation, wasn't that to the southeast, not the west?
Let's see. So the fire started on the west side and is headed, that flank on the southwest anchor and flank towards the ski area.
Okay.
And it's been blowing north, a little bit northeast. So I could give Eric a call and get some more, a better location of those resources and what's going on, and then get the contact with the Forest Service, and then maybe we can get a plan in place for that.
I just think we need to make sure we're advocating to protect our watershed. And so I think we need somebody at the table.
Okay, I'll make sure that happens.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good point. Thank you, Tim. Okay, Judy.
Okay, back to the RSVP grant, which is number 219. They did get a federal grant for safety equipment in the amount of $5,955. And through the COVID pandemic, Anthony realized that he wasn't able to spend $2,228. And I believe it was for travel. So they did ask us for a reversion to pay those grant funds back. So we did actually reduce the grant down by that amount, and we actually reduced expenditures in the same amount. As far as geo bonds, we earned some interest at NMFA. So we're just budgeting that amount, $57,571. And then we had a need for additional funding for Alto Plant number 3 in the amount of $1,760. And then Adam actually had a new project this quarter, the quality in water line replacement in the amount of $14,100. You'll also see CDBG, our match of $931,000 is going to CDBG capital projects. So you'll see a transfer coming out of the GEO bond money, and you'll see it coming into the CDBG capital project fund. Again, CDBG monies have to be separated from regular funding. So we created a new fund. You'll see the creation of the new New Mexico Finance Authority Capital Improvement Project Fund. This is where we'll be building the magistrate court. So you'll see the legislative appropriation coming in, and then there was residual funds after we paid our bond issuance costs in the amount of $26,000. So that's just going all to pay for the magistrate court construction. So there was an additional $189,000 put towards the construction amount. The next fund is number 312, which is the CDBG Capital Project Fund. You'll see the grant, the CDB grant in the amount of $750,000. Our match at $931,000 for a total construction cost of 1.6 million. The next one is our general capital improvement fund, and you'll see the additional funding received for the Wingfield House in the amount of 214,000. Our NMFA loan debt service account had an increase for the bond issuance costs in association with the magistrate court loan. And then you'll also see the transfer out for the residual funds after we paid our bond issuance costs going to Fund 306. In the GEO bond debt service account, we were just transferring out the amount earned at NMFA. As for the airport, we were just adjusting their jet fuel revenues to actual, so that increased $4,500 both on the revenue and expense side. And then the risk management internal service fund actually increased the budget to buy gas detectors for the water distribution department. So overall, expenditures increased 2.4 million. If you have any other questions about any individual funds, I'll take them now.
Can you touch base or go back to the Wingfield House? You said 214,710. That doesn't reflect the grant money that we just received, no?
No.
Mayor, we should be getting, we've completed the bond surveys for that, and it'll be next fiscal year before that money's released to us.
Next fiscal what?
Next fiscal year.
Oh, wow, whole
So
year?
We'll July.
July 1st.
Yes, so we'll reflect that in the next budget.
Is that the 750?
Yes. The one grant that we will probably receive within the next couple of weeks, because it was funded out of the junior bill, is the money for Village Hall remodel. So, I would expect that we would probably add that into the fourth quarter budget once we do receive that grant money and the grant award. We've been in communication with the state. That money comes out of the state general fund cash balances, that money that's left over from operations and whatnot. And the legislators distribute that, so that money will be coming early, and that was 115,000.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Judy.
Okey doke. So those are all the budget adjustments for the quarter. If anybody has any other questions?
You've been busy.
Yeah, it gets busy at the end. Everybody wants to spend their money.
Yep.
So if I can get a motion, that'd be great.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept budget adjustments?
I move that we adopt the resolution 2021-20, a resolution amending the fiscal year 2021 budget, quarter ending March 31st, 2021, for certain funds, an application to the Local Government Division, LGD, of the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration, DFA, for approval thereof.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please, Ron.
Who is the second from again? Oh,
Joe.
Counselor Eby, okay. Counselor Lutterman,
Aye.
Counselor Eby,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. That covers that portion. Is that everything on the agenda?
That's it.
Okay, so being no further business, thank you, Judy and your staff. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. This will conclude the special meeting of the Village of Ruidoso. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you.
Tim, you want to update us as soon as